Hey everybody, it's Dave Duford here at Buy Life Insurance or Burial, where I help people like you find affordable life insurance products for yourself or a loved one anywhere in the nation. The reason that I am doing this video today, and probably the reason you're here today, is because you're looking for more information on $100,000 whole life insurance policies, and you're looking for just kind of a review for how the product works and what the options are out there. If that describes you, if you're looking for this for yourself or a loved one, stick around because that's exactly what we're going to jump into right now. So we're going to start with a little overview about myself, my business. I'm going to define what whole life insurance is to start with. Then we're going to talk about what whole life insurance policies for $100,000 in coverage do. We're going to answer the question you may have of figuring out if you're going to need an exam or not, and then if you can even qualify for $100,000 in coverage. We'll talk about the difference between simplified and non-med whole life $100,000 plans, and then as well as fully underwritten whole life $100,000 plans. And we'll talk about some of the rates and companies that I like to look at for potential $100,000 whole life insurance plans, and then other final factors to consider if these don't necessarily make sense for you on a price basis. And then we'll talk about next steps. So to get started, my name is David Duford. I'm the owner of BuyLifeInsuranceForBurial.com. Again, what I specialize in my business is helping people across the country in the great United States of America to get affordable life insurance either for themselves or loved ones. I've been licensed as a life insurance agent since 2011. I've helped over 3,000 families with their life insurance needs. A couple other things beyond helping people with life insurance. I'm a published author. You can see my book down there below. It's the official guide to buying final expense life insurance. Also, I'm an agency, or I own an agency. I recruit agents to work for me and then to work for their clients in their own communities to help them with life insurance. And last but not least, I'm married. I have been so for about 10 years as of the publishing of this video. And our fourth child is on the way as I film this video. Now, let's answer the question you may have, and that's defining what a whole life insurance policy is. So real quick description of whole life. Whole life all do the following. Fixed prices never increase. So what you are quoted is what you pay for the length of time that is required in the policy. The coverage never cancels due to age or health, so you can't outlive a whole life insurance plan. And typically, if you can qualify for it, we'll talk more about this later, it's full coverage from the first date or the effective date. Again, it's going to depend if you qualify, depend if you if underwriting will accept you. So why do people buy whole life insurance? I think the main reason is peace of mind. They don't want to get a term insurance plan they may outlive or that where prices may go up, and they just want to know they've got some kind of coverage in place to protect against a permanent problem. Permanent problems need permanent solutions, and that's what whole life insurance does. So other options you may consider on a whole life insurance plan of any size, you can get paid up plans where you pay a premium for 10 years, 20 years, and then you're done paying it. You never have to pay again, but now you own the life insurance. You keep it. You'll get $100,000 your beneficiaries will when you die, but you don't have to continue to pay premiums to keep it in force. There's also single pay plans. These are cool. It's where you pay a lump sum premium and you get a multiplier of that coverage. So you maybe have a healthy 55 or 60-year-old, put $50,000 into a single pay whole life insurance, and then if their health is good enough, they may qualify for $100,000 in death benefit coverage. So there's neat things you can do with whole life insurance to get those whole life insurance benefits. And there's a lot of different manipulations we can do, and I can discuss with you individually if you're interested, beyond just a premium that you pay until you pass away. So what does exactly a $100,000 whole life insurance policy do? So there's a lot of reasons why somebody would want to purchase a $100,000 whole life insurance policy. And one reason is funeral expenses. Funeral expenses are going up. People want to have some dedicated policy to take care of all of it, or a portion of that policy to take care of all of that. So whole life insurance plans, look, you can't outlive them, so you know that $100,000 or a portion of it is going to go to the funeral expense. Same thing with cremation expenses. Another thing is income replacement. A lot of people buy a whole life insurance policy because they want a guaranteed lump sum paid to their surviving spouse, because maybe if they die, their pension disappears and the lifestyle of the surviving spouse changes instantly. So with an income replacement plan through a whole life insurance policy, well, now you've got money. The surviving spouse can live a little bit more comfortably for longer without her spouse being around. Just the gift of love is a great reason to buy a $100,000 whole life insurance policy. Maybe you just want to leave money behind to a kid or a grandkid, help them get started in life. This can be a great idea for that. A mortgage payment protection program. So if you can't pay off your mortgage with the $100,000 plan, at least it pays a lump sum to your surviving spouse so they can deduct the mortgage payments from that plan to pay off the mortgage as time goes on versus coming out of what retirement income that she receives. Loan pay down. Maybe you just have money you owe and you want to make sure something is paid off before or right after you pass away. And also a source of cash funding. So if a whole life plan is started earlier enough in life, these plans can potentially pay dividends, which increase your cash value, and then you can borrow from that cash value. A lot of people use whole life insurance plans as a source of cash funding, whether for personal or for business reasons. So that's another reason people would buy a $100,000 plan. Bottom line, like I said earlier, people buy whole life insurance because permanent problems need permanent protection. And whole life insurance is a good solution for those kind of problems. So you may ask yourself, is an exam necessary to even get one of these plans? So sometimes they are, but not always. It's just going to depend on the company. Exams usually require either urinalysis, definitely blood withdrawal, and some sort of general physical. Sometimes carriers are just going to require a signature, electronic or telephonic. They may not even require an exam. Again, it just depends on what company you qualify with and really what your health is. Some just are going to require a phone interview only. And the reason if you're asked to take an exam why you should take it is because examinations, if you're healthy enough, generally will allow you to get a better, more competitive price. Whereas if you don't take an exam and you're healthy, you might pay more than you have to. Now sometimes it's not a good idea to take an exam just because it's not necessary. Sometimes the smaller amounts of coverage just don't prompt a company to require an exam. As you get up in age, that may change. Sometimes the requirements tighten if you're older. So generally speaking, I can tell you personally what I would do. I'm in good shape. I'm young. If I'm buying a large policy and the company says you can get a better deal if you have an exam offered, I'll take it because I don't want to pay more than I have to. If it doesn't make a difference either way, then I'll pass. But I may pass on it if I'm older and it's not required. But I'm not going to lose out on a competitive price, if that makes sense. So, can you qualify for a $100,000 whole life insurance plan? In most cases, you can. And the question isn't yes, it's just which kind is going to be the best for you. So, there's really two types of whole life insurance plans available, depending on your age, depending on your health. First day full coverage is the full $100,000 for natural and accidental death from the effective date. If you can't qualify for that, the last option you would have, the trump card, if you will, is the return of premium or a guaranteed acceptance, guaranteed issue plan. It's where you got to wait usually 2 full years before you're covered for natural death. The only reason you would want to consider a plan like that is that if you just can't qualify for anything else, and that usually means you've got some pretty serious chronic ailments, and you know if you have one of those, you probably know it's not just plain old diabetes with pills. Usually it's a combination of a series of heart problems, lung problems, serious stuff. And that would be your only option. That's the only reason I would recommend it. Is that literally is the last option that you could. So your health is just not good. My experience is, great health, okay health. Not for sure until I talk to you, but most cases, most people qualify for first day full coverage. So let's talk about the difference between simplified issue and non-med issue whole life insurance. So it just means the difference between requesting medical records or not. So if you see simplified issue or non-med, generally speaking, you're not going to be required to take an exam. Now, we'll pull medical records, prescription records to determine insurability. I like these plans because it's great for those with health history issues. A lot of times there's more built-in flexibility. I've literally gotten people who have COPD first day full coverage. I've gotten people who've had heart history problems, cancer history problems, severe insulin usage, first day full coverage. It otherwise would be declined if they took a fully underwritten policy. The issue process is really fast, usually take days if not weeks to get approved. The downside is if you're healthy, like I said earlier, you're going to pay more for that convenience factor of not taking an exam, so it's much more recommended if you're in really good shape to take that exam. Fully underwritten $100,000 whole life insurance plans means you've got to do an entire exam. Everything I talked about, blood, urinalysis, physical. Pros is you get a better price. I did this myself, and I've looked at price comparisons for what I'm paying for my insurance versus if I didn't have an exam. It would literally be like half the price or half the coverage for the same price. To me, a total ripoff. I want the most coverage I can to protect my family if I die and replace my income. Why would I give up on hundreds of thousands of dollars in difference? That's, for me, it doesn't make any sense. And so if you're healthy, it's worth the troubles of an exam. God forbid you did die and you needed to leave money behind. I would want you to leave more money behind to your family. It does take weeks to months to get issued because they're going to pull medical records, do analysis, pull in-depth medical records. And there is a risk that if you do these exams, you're going to reveal unknown health issues, and it may affect your insurability. But again, ignorance is not bliss, in my opinion, especially when it comes to health. I personally want to know if I have health problems, especially if I'm healthy to begin with. So I don't necessarily think that's a potential negative. And there are the potential for rate ups. This mostly happens with agents who are not good at underwriting. They'll go in and lowball a deal, and they'll say, hey, look, here's some great rates. They're preferred plus rates. And then you get back and you have a table rating, which means the price is probably 2-3 times as much. And it's just a colossal waste of time. So a lot of these rate up potentials happen because of inexperienced agents. But yeah, you still have the potential to find out something that you didn't know you had and causes a price increase. So let's look at some $100,000 whole life insurance coverage rates. So what we're going to do is just start by showing you some simplified and non-med options. So these are plans where you don't have a full examination. I'm not going to get too detailed into examination policy. So it's likely if you're younger or if you're in really good shape, no matter the age, we may be able to do a better price than you're seeing. But most of my people who watch these videos are seniors or parents, children of parents that are looking for life insurance. So I gear my presentation towards that. So I'm looking at a 65-year-old male is all I'm going to look at to just show you kind of what the options are. Actually, we'll take a look at 65-year-old female as well, non-smokers. And so you can see what it would run for a simplified issue non-med. And then I'm going to show you some alternatives if you don't like what you see, and give you some other options as well. Okay, so you're looking at a $50,000 non-med simplified issue whole life insurance plan. The ones I'll direct you to, not so much Pickens, but also the ones down here. These are all not going to require an exam, but they're going to be around to the 250 to 260 mark. Now, you may be asking why I asked for 100,000, why not 50,000? Well, with simplified issue and some non-med products, it may be more prudent to do 2 different policies to get the amount of coverage you had, because some of these people that are going to apply for these products, you may be out there have had health problems, and a lot of these plans limit coverage to 50,000. So, but there's no rule saying you can't take out 2 policies for 50,000. So you can get a total of 100,000. So you'd be looking at around 500 to 510, let's say 500 to 550 a month. And for a female, same thing, 65, non-smoker, you're looking at around at the 200 mark, so it's going to be around 400 to 425 for $50,000, for $100,000 in coverage. So a lot of people who see this get a little sticker shock, because if you're older than 65, it's going to be higher, of course. And even if you're younger, it's going to be not too much off, unless you're in your 30s or something. But look, if you got a little sticker shock from this, let me share with you some alternative ideas that you may want to start with. I believe in the old adage of that the way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time. If you don't want to go full in and it's just scary or you just can't afford it, let me show you some alternatives. So first of all, I'm going to show you what's called a Guaranteed Universal Life program. And the idea behind Guaranteed Universal Life is the premiums are fixed. As long as you pay the premium, you never will have the policy cancel. The coverage never cancels as long as you die before age 121, which most people will. But if you wanted $100,000, I'm showing you some options here. And this requires pretty good health, to be honest with you, although we do have some flexibility. But for $100,000 at 65-year-old non-smoker male, $206. It may be $270 with Sagicor. I'm just going to stick with this company. It may go higher. These are standard prices. I usually don't sell these. I usually stick with Sagicor, but much better than the $525 price point for males. Now, if we look at females, same thing, $100,000. No lapse or guaranteed universal life plan. Instead of $400 a month, you could be paying $167 a month, perhaps even $219. There's some higher price plans that aren't showing here, but those would be at the maybe a couple hundred. I don't know how much exactly it would be, but it might be lower than what I first showed you. So that's a creative way to get a better price, but have the same benefits that are just like whole life in the sense of permanent protection. You can also do what's called a term life product with a permanent conversion option. So this would be where you would buy $100,000 in term life insurance, probably pay a fifth of the price that you would, maybe even less than that, and then down the line, take that plan and convert it to whole life insurance without evidence of insurability. There's a lot of products that we offer that do that. So if you rather would pay $50, maybe $100 a month, maybe not even that, and get the same amount of coverage, but understanding it's only going to last 10, 15, 20 years, maybe 30 years if you're younger. This is a creative way to get a lot of coverage, but have that Plan B option to turn this into $100,000 of insurance down the line. You could also start with a smaller amount of coverage. There's nothing wrong with starting with smaller, $25,000, $50,000, $75,000 in coverage. And you're looking at about half the rates for $50,000, quarter the rates for $25,000. Do the math. If it's $500 for simplified issue for $100,000 on a male, 65 non-smoker, non-smoking, non-tobacco smoker, you get the idea. It's going to be about $125 a month for a $25,000 plan at that age, and vice versa. Also, a bottom line, look, something's better than nothing here. The idea behind here is to sell you on the idea that insurance is important. Clearly, if you're watching the video up to this point, you realize that. But if you're not convinced that the premiums are going to work for you, look, there's a lot of other options. It's better to do something instead of just walk away and pretend like this problem doesn't exist. You don't have to pay the premium, but the problem still exists. The premium's not the problem. The problem's the problem. The problem is you don't have coverage. The problem is you're going to die, and it's going to cost something, and you need something in place. The solution is the premium you pay. Of course, the idea here is to get a premium you can affordably and easily pay. So there are other options. I just wanted to demonstrate them to you. So let's wrap this up and tell you how to qualify. Let's say you're convinced you want to do a $100,000 whole life insurance plan or some kind of variation, whether one of the ones I just mentioned below. Pick an agent you like to work with. That's the first thing. I'll nominate myself, as I always do. And the next step would be just for me to interview you, figure out what your goals are, your health, and then let me draw up a quote. Assuming you accept it, I will run the application through the process, either by email or by telephone. And very, very rare that we require a face-to-face meeting nowadays with insurance coverage being able to be completely electronic at this point. Well, a couple of days to a couple of weeks later, if we don't do an exam, you'll get approved for coverage. If we have to do an exam, it may take a month to 2 months, conservatively. And then after you get approved, assuming you do, we send you your policy, and that's it. And the story, you got your coverage, peace of mind is intact. So, final steps. How do you do this? Let's say you want to contact me. Very easy. 2 options. You can go to my website, buylifeinsuranceforburial.com. Above, you'll see a contact link. Below, you'll see a box to click on, a chat box. Either of those methods work. Send me a message. Let me know what you're looking for. If you like to use the phone, call me at 888-626-0439. Let me help you. And I'll talk to you 5-10 minutes, give you a quote. What you do with it's up to you. As you can tell, I'm pretty laid back and easy to work with. If I can't help you, no big deal. Hopefully you enjoyed the information in this video today. I do hope that you found it useful and that you'll let me help you if there is a need for it. My name is David Duford at Buy Life Insurance for Burial, where I help people across the country get affordable life insurance for themselves or for people they love. Take care.